Main standing as Motor Racing Outreach Chaplain Tom Kipp offers our invocation.
Charlotte Motor Speedway, please pray with me. Oh God, we thank you as we begin this new era of racing and memories here on the Roval today. We simply ask for a safe race. Protect each one of these drivers and teams, all of these hardworking men and women putting the show on today, and each and every one of our great fans. Oh God, we thank you for the hard-fought freedom of our country today. We ask that you have patience with us. Please have mercy on us. Guide us, protect us, and where you can, we ask that you unite us, all for your glory and in the name of your great Son and our Savior, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Charlotte's own Radio's Disney Country and CMT Discovery artist, Christina Taylor.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We have called it the most anticipated Xfinity Series race of the year. The anticipation is nearly over because the race is about to begin. It happens when we return to the Roval in Charlotte.
Are you ready for the most anticipated race of the season?
There's a lot of excitement and hype around first-time or unique events.
We're definitely making history racing on the Roval for the first time.
The unknown of this Roval has everybody concerned.
I'm anxious, excited, nervous. So many variables that none of us teams or drivers have ever been faced with.
It's going to be a difficult track, the most difficult in our whole season.
Stock cars are just really hard to drive on road courses and really hard to navigate without crashing.
It's going to be such a battle of attrition. There's going to be so many wrecked race cars.
Round 2, baby!
We get to go to the Roval stress-free, and we're able to race for wins and not survival.
Charlotte road course is going to be fun for Christopher.
The road courses for me, especially this year, have been fantastic.
Justin Allgaier going back-to-back on road courses.
If you can be the guy to win the race on the Roval, its first event, that would be a great achievement for someone's career.
We are the guinea pigs. I was hoping they let the Cup guys run on Saturday and let us run on Sunday, but you know, nobody really asked me.
Unknown indeed. There is nothing familiar about what these teams are about to face. For the latest, let's go to our pit reporters, beginning with Parker.
And Krista, one of those unknowns is this backstretch chicane. I'm going to be roaming all over the racetrack today, but I'm starting here because for the first time, these drivers are going to approach this corner over 150 miles an hour in traffic, knowing there's one groove that they'll have to negotiate through, Dave.
Parker, Justin Allgaier races into the unknown with a 21-point cushion above the cut line in the playoffs. But the hardest part of his day may be lap 1, turn 1, where he races in 6 rows deep. Kelly?
Cole Custer has 4 straight top 10 finishes on road courses, but feels like his results should be even better than that. He told me this is going to be a game of give and take, and while he might be willing to give a spot up early, he won't be so generous late in the race. He starts 6th, Marty.
Kelly, there's one driver where they win in the round of 12, and it's Christopher Bell. He admitted to me a moment ago, I'm not the best road course racer in the world. It's the hardest discipline I've had to learn here in the Xfinity Series, but I'm just going to have fun today. We know we're on to the next round. I've got nothing to lose. Hey, who's ready for the first ever Roval race? Let's get the engines cranked here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome your Grand Marshals, Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina employees and breast cancer survivors, Georgia Hermans, Louise Adams, and E. Reese.
Race to get your mammograms. Drivers, start your engines. Woo!
All right, Cole, you fire up when you're ready. First gear. All right, Jay, the segments are...
A 35-foot elevation change on the track. I'm guessing our drivers are glad their only elevation change was the elevator ride to the broadcast booth. Jeff Burton and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are you ready?
We are ready, Krista. You know, ever since this race was introduced, there has been nerve-wracking concern about it. Everybody's talked about how dangerous it could be as far as getting into wrecks, how easy it's going to happen, and we've seen this weekend that they were right.
Yeah, there's been a lot of problems with these guys. Take a look at some of this footage from practice. Brandon Jones getting in the wall in turn 5. And then they're a little too hot. A little contact. J.J. Yaley hit first in the first turn wall. There's Jeff Green going over the blue curbs. That's going to tear up some race cars today.
Spencer Gallagher in turn 1 spun, no contact. Then Christopher Bell, turn 3. A little bit of contact into the barrier. They had to fix this car. You can see the damage on the right side. Guys spent a lot of time, got it back where they needed to be, and I think that this road course, as difficult it is, though, it creates some opportunity. And one of the guys that I believe it creates the best opportunity for is Austin Syndrich. Austin Syndrich has won K&N East, ARCA, Truck Series, IMSA, road raced all over the world, sat on the pole today. I think this is the guy you're going to have to beat today.
Yeah, the guy that I think has the kind of speed that can match that person is Daniel Hemrick, man. Daniel Hemrick has been in the Xfinity car and the Cup car all weekend, so he's got a lot more laps than half these guys, or most of these guys in the race. Double duty. That's going to help him out a lot today. He's got a new job next year. This man's excited. But let's hear what our other guys over there in the other booth think about. Rick, Steve, what you guys got?
Well, the track obviously is going to be difficult, but think about the 12 drivers that right now are fighting for every single point because they're in the playoffs, and they want to make sure that they advance out of this round. Now, this isn't an elimination race, but it's very important to set up the next race that we're going to be seeing.
We'll see how tight the leaderboard is with 2 guys tied right there at the cut line. So it comes to mind stage points. Remember, after stage 1, stage 2 points will be awarded. Does that mean you're going to be aggressive, or can you hang back? And the reason I asked maybe they'll hang back is we've seen the accidents. It's not just going to be accidents. How about attrition? If these drivers choose, if they attack this racetrack and attack these curbs, these cars will not last. They'll have to manage that over a short 55-lap race.
And one driver who has to feel good coming into this race is a guy who's won the last 2 road course races, and he's the regular season champion, Justin Allgaier.
Justin Allgaier is going to come from behind and win in Mid-Ohio.
Awesome. Heck yeah.
We've been good this year, and to do it on a road course is even better.
There's your Road America winner, Justin Allgaier.
I never would have thought we could have had a dream season like this one. 2 road courses. Would you believe that?
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, and by Toyota. Let's go places.
Who considered to be a dark horse in these playoffs? I think Austin Syndrich. Tell you why. Road course in the first round.
He could win the Roval and get himself to the round of 8.
He's extremely good road course racer, and he's in the 22 car the entire time.
Team Penske has very good equipment, and Austin's been learning at an incredible rate. It's very easy to forget how short his time in stock cars has been.
Austin Syndrich with things well in hand.
I feel like I have the best potential to be an underdog, and I come at that in a few different areas. I feel like the car I'm driving is without a doubt one of the best in the garage area. So the ball's in my court in that scenario.
It is Austin Syndrich. He gets into the back end of Grella.
I could find myself in a similar position as last year in the Truck Series, being the dark horse, being the underdog, and climbing from the bottom on the playoff board each round. And it's not easy, I can tell you that. But who knows? Maybe I'll find myself in Championship 4.
NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing from Charlotte. It's the Drive for the Cure 200. Starting grid will roll across the bottom of the screen. Austin Syndrich, Daniel Hemrick will make up the first row, and all of those drivers talking about the underdog, Austin Syndrich. Let's dial him up on the radio and chat with him before the green flag flies.
Well, let's wait just 1 minute. All right, I think he's clear now. Hey, Austin, it's Burton. You got us?
What's going on, Mr. Burton?
Well, we're exceptionally excited to watch this race today. We want to know what you think about this track.
I think I've got the best view out of the 39 other cars behind me, and we're going to fight hard all day and try and keep our moneyline Ford Mustang up there.
Austin, how does this track compare to every other road course you've run on?
I'd say it's probably likened itself more to street courses than anywhere else, just because all the camber changes and surface changes in the road are so unnatural, but everyone's in the same boat. Got to be dodging tires and curbs and cars, and it'll be pretty crazy, especially with stage racing. I think that's the dynamic you don't get in most road racing. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. Hopefully it plays to our benefit.
What's the biggest challenge for you to accomplish your goal today, and that's win this Xfinity race?
I think you're going to see a lot of strategies in order to keep track position, as well as being able to be set up for the end of the race, as well as stage points, because someone like myself right now who's below the cut line needs stage points. I need them more than playoff points, so we'll be interested to see how everyone else plays the strategy today.
Thank you so much for taking time with us today. Have a good luck, bud. Have fun.
Sounds great. Thank you. Enjoy it.
Well, we are lucky enough. We just talked to Austin Syndrich. Well, we're riding along with him with a Ford performance cam. Great view, looking straight back at him.
We got Cole Custer with the Sunoco cam, and he's got the bumper cam. That's going to be giving us some great shots today. And we got Ryan Truex with the leaf filter cam. He's got the helmet cam as well. You see that right there? Good shots from here.
And Christopher Bell, the guy that he's kind of happy to be here today. He won last week, so he's advancing to the next round. We're going to ride it along with him with the Toyota cam. Got this side panner, going to be getting some cool shots. Cars pull up beside him. See how close he gets to the wall. It's going to be a fun shot right there all day.
So, Steve, when I first heard about this race and looked at the numbers, what jumped out at me was it's only 55 laps. This is only a 55-lap race.
Yeah, it's a short race and short stages, 15 laps for both stage 1 and 2. Final stage, 25 laps, fuel window 35, 37. But I don't think it's how the race is broken down, guys. I think it's this track that the whole story, all weekend long, the conversation has been about this Roval. Why don't you break it down for us?
Let's take a look at the track map here, show you the 17 corners of this racetrack. Turn 1, be pretty tough. You're going to see turn 3 has been real tough. See all them tire marks? Guys getting into the fence there. Downhill to the right. Getting loose into that corner, spinning around. We've seen that through testing, through practice. We're going to see it again today in the race. Turn 4, turn 5, uphill into 6. Round down the back straightaway into the chicane.
The chicane has been a crazy place. You can see right here Bubba Wallace and his Cup car making contact, destroying his car. Then you see right here Eric Jones, same thing with his Cup car. Just airborne when you hit those big blue curbs. Watch this as we ride along. They've changed that, moved that wall a little bit since then, so now it's not going to be quite as easy to hit that wall.
We got another chicane on the front straightaway that's giving guys some trouble. They're sliding the tires into this braking zone here, trying to make this the only really passing zone we've seen so far. If you miss it, you're going to go through that turf. You got to pull over on the right side, start finish line, and stop. There's the restart zone. The cars are going to restart on the original oval, bypassing that kink. Go into turn 1 a little faster. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
And Jeff just mentioned they have moved the wall just a bit after those cars had smashed into it. How much difference will that make, crew chief, as the line? Do you want to try to challenge those blue curbs?
Well, the blue curbs are without a doubt still a penalty, but you saw in practice how it was all the way out to that really dark blue line. Now it's been moved to the right. That really just gives the driver a little bit more space for a mistake, although there's still a penalty because these blue curbs right here, they are big, Parker, and they will damage a race car.
No doubt, Steve. And behind me right here is turns 3 and 4 is where I'm down. And you know, the interesting about a Roval is the contrast in speed between the fastest corners and the slowest. On the banking, you're doing over 150 miles an hour. But then behind me in turns 3 and 4, you're down to roughly 50 miles per hour, which means it's incredibly hard to set up the car to do both. And that means that turn 3 and 4 has become one of the trickiest corners. I'm interested to see these cars coming here on the first lap side by side and see if they can hold on to it, Dave.
Parker, where you're standing is where they told Ross Chastain he could start dropping back. That's right, he qualified 16th, but he told us right afterwards, I'm going to drop back to 40th or the back of the pack somewhere. Why is that? He wants to protect what he has. He won a race, he's in the playoffs, but he has an 18-point cushion that he doesn't want to waste with an early wreck here at the Roval. Kelly?
Ryan Truex and this 11 team seemed relaxed and confident when I caught up with them earlier today, but after qualifying 11th, they will have to start the race from the rear of the field for unapproved adjustments. Crew Chief Chris Rice did not seem happy about it when I asked him if it would change anything for him. He gave me a big, oh yeah, look for this team to make a big strategy move early, Marty.
Kelly, pit road will likely be a story today. We're on top of the Peacock pit box, and right here behind me, Christopher Bell has the first usable stall on pit road. That's stall number 4. The end of pit road out there beyond stall number 1 where the yellow line is, that's where the speed limit ends. After that, it's a hard 90-degree turn around the corner and then to a blend line. That is just a suggested blend line. You do not have to abide by it, and you can jump in front of someone in traffic. That's going to be very interesting, Rick.
Thank you, Marty. And one of the best ways to view a road course is from high above. And the aerial coverage for today's race is provided by Bank of America. Let's listen in to Daniel Hemrick's radio.
Racing the racetrack, okay? Spotters, keep it safe here. Pit crew, focus, focus, focus. This is big here. We got a really good car. Let's do it today.
I'll tell you what's really big, Steve, is this will be the first time we will see any cars go 2x2 through the start zone and into turn number 1. This is it, the first time ever.
I feel good about the front row, but rows 2 on back, I'm not sure. This is going to be something we have yet to see this weekend.
Austin Syndrich has chosen the inside line. Now, again, they don't have to go through the chicane on the front. They're coming up to the start zone. Racing underway at the Charlotte Roval. Three wide as they come out of turn 1.
Daniel Hemrick did a great job of staying next to Syndrich. He's going to take the lead right here, possibly.
These guys don't know where their passing zones are on this racetrack, so this is pretty important for him to maybe fight for this position to try to take that lead.
So Hemrick's got the preferred lane now, but now it's going to quickly switch. Now Syndrich has the preferred lane on the inside, heading onto the oval, what would be the turn 1 of the oval.
Surprisingly, they went through the infield part of this course side by side until they got out onto the oval.
It's the first time they've really been through here with traffic. It changes your visibility. It changes what you can see. You see a guy there, he blows that chicane. He's going to have to serve a penalty and stop.
And that penalty will be served on the front stretch, just on the outside of the chicane right here in the front stretch.
Good job by Christopher Bell right there. He saw a car on the inside of him, and he just gave plenty of room.
Fairly cordial first lap.
Yeah. Alex LeMay's had some trouble with his car. Lost power, broke the transmission.
That's really disappointing for that team. He's qualified 5th.
He thinks it's a drive shaft, guys. He thinks he broke the drive shaft, the 36 car.
And now a full course caution has come out.
There he is. So he, this happened coming out of the first, or the chicane on the front straightaway, and I'm wondering if he broke, maybe didn't break the drive shaft, but broke the axle, or if he did break the drive shaft, broke the yoke, but jumped the curb too hard, Steve, Jeff. Right in this chicane here, using those curbs very aggressively, you can do that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those curbs. The drivers, there's an advantage to getting close to them, perhaps even using them a little bit, but too much will without a doubt damage your race car. And Jeff Burton called it out right here. The 0-1 has nowhere to go. He goes straight, misses the backstretch chicane, has to stop on the front stretch, service penalty.
A lot of traffic going through that chicane on the backstretch. Tomorrow, the sports day starts early on NBC with the Ryder Cup featuring the singles matches. Live coverage from France begins at 6 a.m. Eastern on NBC. That's better. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning watching these matches, and it didn't start well, and it hasn't really ended well either for Team USA. 10-6 is the lead for Europe. Caution that came out for the 36 of Alex Labbe. This is why.
If you look at the left rear tire as it comes into view, the axle is going to leave the vehicle right here. It comes out. You see it pop out of the car, and then right behind that, all the rear end grease. That's the mechanical issue for the 36.
So it's just that simple. And once again, back up through the gears and back underway. Tyler Reddick fighting hard now in the 9. 2 white cars are Austin Syndrich in the 22 and Tyler Reddick in the 9 up front. Then Daniel Hemrick has fallen back to 3rd.
So far, we're seeing a lot of give and take on these restarts. This guy's doing a great job of getting through these laps on these restarts. That's when I think we're going to have the most potential for issues. Obviously, in the 3rd stage of this race, it's going to ramp up the intensity and might not see so much giving and taking, Jeff.
Yes, you see way back here in the back of this line, there's that one car. Elliott Sadler did not qualify well, and he needs a little bit of patience, but because he wants to get away from this mess. He wants to get in front of these guys, and it's going to be interesting to see how he can get himself back to the front.
Inside the number 11, Ryan Truex, he waves. I wonder why he's waving for somebody to let him have that line into the chicane. There'll be a lot of that going on. Guys working with each other to make sure they know what's going on and what's happening going in that chicane, because there's no braking zone there. You fly into that chicane at 140 mile an hour.
Yeah. Here you go right here. This is the front straightaway chicane. So it makes that right. Now a hard left onto the front straightaway. This is the start-finish line right here. So now he's going to drive down the front straightaway just like he would be any other time at Charlotte. Turns left just past the end of pit road. This carries into it. Another left-hander. Now it's uphill. Now downhill. Uphill again. Now downhill. And that's why you see so much problems here in turn 3.
A little bit of a straightaway right here in the road course portion of the track to an uphill turn 5 to the right. It kind of invites you to drive up that hill, but you got to slow down and run tight here. Slow the car down. Keep the drive in the car as you start to power down into turn 7. Keep the forward drive in, and very bumpy through here, chasing the grip in the car, chasing the back grip, trying to put the power down through here up onto the oval, turn 9. Kelly.
Yeah, remember Ryan Truex had to start from the rear. He's already made his way all the way up to the 18th position. They had told me they felt like they had a fast car, possibly the best race car they've had all season. Ryan at one point said it was a top 3 car for sure, and there was a great pep talk by crew chief Chris Rice ahead of this, reminding Ryan of what a great car that they have. He said, we're going to get you out of the hole that we started with. They'll have good track position, they hope, at the end of this one. Marty?
And Kelly Elliott Sadler also in that gaggle as well in that one blue car. And Jeff Brault talked about him a moment ago, and it really matters what your agenda is coming into the race. Elliott telling me, listen, we just need to get out of here with some points. They're plus 12 above the cut line. So where you are in the championship standings really affects how you approach this road. Well, this racetrack has everybody freaked out. If you're in that championship mix, you just want a solid day.
What is a solid day? That's a good question.
I was getting ready to ask you, Rick.
The big question is, what is a solid day? Do you get away with a car that's unscathed?
Well, I think Elliott Sadler right here, he's running in the 16th position. The concern is, in 10 more laps, we're going to see the end of stage 1. The top 10 are going to receive points, and those are going to be points that currently he's missing out on. And as opposed to the front of the field right here, Syndrich, Reddick, Hemrick, Custer, Tiff, the top 5 cars, all playoff cars, and they're all going to earn those stage points. And you talked about a bumper cam. Look out, here's some curbing on the right front corner of this 00. There's going to be a great shot in this front stretch chicane, this turn 16 curb. These drivers have been using a lot of it.
So I'm over 150 miles an hour exiting turn, well, what would have been 4, but at this track it's 14.
You guys were talking about what would be a good day. This isn't a cutoff race for these guys. This is right in the middle of the round. You don't know what's going to happen next week. I think you got to run hard, try to gain those playoff points or the stage points. You got to get those stage points. You can't. I'm a little nervous for Ross Chastain to be back here in 30th without an opportunity to try to get any stage points.
See Ty Majeski around.
And they'll display a blue flag letting the drivers know as they're coming up on that there's something that they need to be aware of and potentially avoid, but no caution on the track. Parker.
And guys, actually, we're talking. Got a little radio there for Ty Majeski. Well, and then also I want to go into just trying to make a pass. I'm watching a lot of these drivers, like Justin Allgaier was trying to make a pass on Ty Majeski, Cole Custer on Daniel Hemrick. As they go through this backstretch chicane, they're trying to line themselves up to make a run in the passing zone that we believe would be that final chicane. And it's interesting, you see some drivers back their lineup and try to get a run, but when they do that, the guy ahead just jumps the curbs a little more and gets too far away. So it's been interesting watching the cat and mouse down here of drivers trying to set themselves up for a pass.
We saw Ty Majeski around the racetrack just a little bit ago. This is entering turn 1. You can see him just gets away from him, tried to put the throttle down and around the car win, and that's what we're hearing so much of these drivers are talking about. Is if you push it all and you overstep your bounds, before you know it, the car's around.
A little bit of a scare for Justin Allgaier. He didn't like to see that, Jeff.
No, and look how narrow it is. Walls on both sides, really no escape zone.
Syndrich out front. He's led 7 of the 7 laps that have been run. Again, stage 1, only 15 laps. We're halfway. NASCAR Drive is your perfect race day companion. You can watch throughout the broadcast and select alternate camera angles or ride along with in-car video of your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/drive or download the NASCAR mobile app today. Let's head to the skies above this roval, and these laps from above are brought to you by Bank of America.
Well, Daniel Hemrick just got by Tyler Reddick.
He made that pass going through turn 2 and 3. we've been wondering, where the passing zone is going to be.
And this is a braking zone for Cole Custer. Everybody's been kind of nervous right here, but just don't know how hard you can push it. Cole clearly is a little bit quicker.
This is an opportunity right here to also maybe try to outbrake him into turn one. Difficult to do. I mean, gains on him right here in the throttle. This is where Henrik made his pass. Custer thinking about it. Puts a little pressure on the 9, and the 9's offline.
Tyler's got to get a little more discipline on being on his marks. This is not the kind of racetrack that you can just, drive hard and be off your marks. You have to treat this like a short track where it's very slick. Your tires are killed. If you miss your marks by inches, it's going to kill your lap time. See the 00 right down there on the bottom of the corner. There's more grip right there. He's just a little bit quicker right now. Reddick's going to have to just clean up just a touch and hit all his marks.
Here's a shot. Good drive out of turn 8 for Custer to the inside of Reddick for position. He'll take that spot as they head down the back straightaway. Marty.
Boy, Junior, it's tough to make a pass here, isn't it? Cole Custer finally getting that done over Tyler Reddick. Steve, the playbook certainly open for these crew chiefs to take some chances today with strategy. Now, normally when you come to a road course, this stage will end here in 4 laps, or 5 to go, actually. You would pit lap 13, lap 14 or so, come before the stage ends, then stay out when the stage happens. That gets you the track position you need. There's also a theory you could pit one time today at about lap 25 and then make it to the end of the race. So what would you do, Mr. Crew Chief? Do you come before the end of the stage here, or do you listen to what Austin Syndrich said? I need those stage points. Those are more valuable than anything.
Yeah, I would be on a 2-stop strategy, and if I was any of these playoff competitors, I would run to the end of the stage, get some points in my bucket. No one knows. This is looking calm because the drivers are playing nice. When it gets to that last stage, Rick, no one's going to play nice anymore. So I would race to the end of each stage. You see Justin Allgaier at the top of your screen right here, entering that last corner. That left front lockup, guys, we've seen that a lot heading into that front stretch chicane.
Yeah, they're coming around the banking of turn 4, the original oval. And the car's loaded to the right, so when you get on the brakes at that particular point, it locks up the left front tire. And the transition down onto that flat of that chicane is kind of bouncy and rough. You can bounce that left front tire. Seen those guys locking that up all through practice.
You hit me a little while ago and you said, look at the lap time. Henrik was quite a bit faster than Austin Syndrich. The last lap, he has cut this lead by a lot.
Yeah, since he got by Reddick, he's really closed in on the 22. I'm surprised because I don't know if Syndrich's just kind of saving his drive off a little bit and taking it easy. Backed it up a little bit so he's, doesn't put himself in position to making mistakes, but he's allowing Henrik to close in.
Guys, this is what I mean by the stages. So Daniel Hemrick still searching for that career win, that first career win. One of the favorites today, probably either the 22 or the 21. Well, the 21 car can finish first or second in both the first and second stage, score 18 or 20 points. That may free him up to really be aggressive going for the win later. Dave.
Marty was talking about pit strategy. They called Chase Briscoe in. The 98 is on and off of pit road. 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Christopher Bell on pit road as well. Again, they've advanced to the next round. They don't have much to lose. You see behind him, Elliott Sadler on pit road. Green flag stops here at the Roval. This is going to be interesting to see how these guys blend out coming to pit road. And again, Elliott Sadler's team really kind of playing conservative here in stage 1, hanging back at the beginning of part of that run, pitting here early, kind of giving up those stage points. We'll see what happens here for Elliott Sadler, who said it was too loose in the left-hand turns.
It's an easy decision because he didn't really have any points to give up. He was running well outside the top 10. But, guys, I think coming to 2 to go, this is going to be a heck of a battle for this stage win.
You can see Henrik, look how much he beats him on braking.
He's been a half second quicker the last 3 laps, and now you see it. Long run speed of that 21 car is impressive. If this is truly the 22's best laps, very impressive speed out of the 21.
Austin Syndrich has only 1 career stage win. It was at Mid-Ohio this year. He's proven that he is a very good road racer. His father, Tim Syndrich, is the president at Team Penske, has been there and worked with that organization for many years.
Oh, there
you go. Can he hang on to it? No, he's going to go around. Just as we're touting his abilities, he spins it. Daniel Hemrick now out front.
So he spun through the grass. He's on what part of the original road course. Be careful pulling back in.
All clear. Clear right there.
So the 22, we realize now the 22 was pushing hard there, and he wasn't trying to save tires. He was giving it all he had. Hemrick put a little pressure on him.
And those are the things that Austin Syndrich has just got to clean up with his driving in these Xfinity cars. You can see the car just came around on him. You know, you're leading the race. It's okay to run second. It's still a long way to go in this race. You cannot make these mistakes at this time in the race, Marty.
And Austin just said a moment ago on the radio, we've got to work on the fall off. I had no rear tires at the end of that run, and here you see him on board losing rear grip right there.
Now, what's difficult, Steve, is how do you fix that? I mean, how do you make long run speed with a setup that you have already got? You needed to work on that yesterday. It's hard to fix that today.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a few things that could change, perhaps some rear air pressure, things like that. The other thing is he started on the pole, so he was abusing those rear tires right from the start of the race.
But now Daniel Hemrick on his final lap, as he has taken over the lead once Syndrich spun around.
A good thing for Syndrich, though, he's still in fourth.
Yeah.
You know, he spun. They had such a lead on everybody. He spun, went through the grass, came back, and he's still running fourth. So not a huge penalty.
I agree. We thought, you know, Syndrich was the class of the field. What does that say about Hemrick now? Having that kind of speed late in the run.
You can see right there the 22 just does not have the speed leaving that tight corner. Justin Marks getting underneath him. Just give this spot up. Don't contest it. There's no need to contest this spot. They're not listening to me.
They should be. And Hemrick making the final right and then left through 17, and he will win stage 1. And the big news for Hemrick as the battle for position continues for the end of this stage. Hemrick will be Monster Energy Cup Series racing in 2019. It has been a great weekend for him. Austin Syndrich, who had led the first 13 laps of the Charlotte Roval, pushing a little too hard, gets out of line. As he spins, Hemrick capitalizes.
Pit stops happening at the Charlotte Roval. Unless you're stage winner Daniel Hemrick, he has stayed out. The 9 car of Tyler Reddick is in, giving up 3rd place. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Kelly.
Colpester said the 0-0 really wasn't that bad, but he was struggling with drive off after a few laps. They made a chassis adjustment, Marty.
Austin Syndrich on pit road. They're waiting here on the 39 to come in. You see 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Saw them go down 1 round on the track bar. They lose a few spots. But Steve, how about that call for the 21, the only one who stayed out here?
Yeah, surprisingly, I think it's going to work well as we see the race off pit road. That 21 was so fast, Rick. You know, they can run like 5 more laps. They're inside their pit window. He's going to have a few guys that pitted under green behind him, which their tires are definitely going to be fresher. But guys, that 21, you guys kept talking about how fast he was, Jeff. I think now he's thinking about winning the race. He just got himself 10 stage points. That has to feel pretty good. I think it's a good
playoff
gamble.
point.
And a playoff point. Great point.
I think that's huge. I think you know, this is all brand new. We don't know what strategy is going to work, and that's why we see this split strategy. And it's going to be really fun to watch how Daniel Hemrick can deal with all those new tires coming from behind him.
Yeah, and you see right there that 10+1, Rick, that's a big, big gain. So even if he has an issue in the end of the race, you know, that's going to save 10 spots, right? So that's going to make for a better day. Rutledge.
You know what, guys? We heard Jeff Burton earlier talk about the differences in elevation here in the infield, but when I tell you we're right over here, this is 6 coming down into 7. That's right over there where Austin Syndrich had his problem. You see it's a lot like a merry-go-round, because if you look further down the lineup here, this is the back wall of turns 1 and 2. So they're above our heads over here, come through around. It's like a merry-go-round. You're going around, you go up, you go down. But guys, a 35-foot difference from top to bottom here in the infield, that is a lot for the drivers to struggle with. So Steve, I wonder, can crew chiefs and drivers talk about the way the cars feel with the more fuel or less fuel when you're sliding it around this much?
I think it's more tire wear than fuel. The fuel certainly changes it, but typically with low fuel, you also have old tires that don't feel as good, don't make as much grip. But Junior, I was shocked that Charlotte Motor Speedway had that much elevation change in the infield. I just didn't know it was here.
Well, you talk about an elevation. How about elevation of the car when you drive straight over the curb? Justin Marks.
The 42, man.
Look at it dig in. Watch the left front when it falls on the racetrack. Oh, I mean, it just left a huge mark in the racetrack.
I'm betting he won't be the last.
It's time to go 2x2 once again as we get ready for the restart and the start of stage 2. Pace car has made its way back onto pit road, and now Daniel Hemrick and Christopher Bell making up row number 1 as they enter the restart zone.
See right there, Daniel Hemrick just couldn't lay the throttle down. Those old tires just didn't let him do it. Chase Briscoe for the lead.
He said it wouldn't turn. He went into the corner, just absolutely would not turn, Jeff.
He's going to have to be patient here a little bit. These tires have some buildup on them, and he's racing people with a little better tire without buildup. It will probably come back a little bit, but this first little bit could be really difficult.
Working the infield road course, and they'll make their way
we got
now.
Spin back there at the top of the screen.
Sure enough, right out of turn number 6.
The JD Motorsports cars. 15, Catherine Legg.
Catherine Legg able to straighten it back out, back into the grass, and going the right direction now. No caution. Oh, big hit there.
Wow.
She was coming back onto the track.
A lot of damage getting back on the racetrack.
She got a little help from that white car on the inside there.
Out front, it's Chase Briscoe, and Chase was on pit road at lap 12 when a few took that strategy of coming a little bit before the end of stage 1.
Chase has been doing some road racing. We saw him in the Truck Series last year, and that ride went away, and he really hasn't had a full-time ride this year. He's been doing a little bit of everything. He's been racing for Ford, running all over the place, and he's been getting some good road racing experience.
This is a good race car that he's in right here.
And what kind of a strategy should he employ, Steve? I mean, here's a driver who came on lap 12, Do you take him up until the start or right before the end of stage 2 and bring him back to pit road?
Well, the concern you have right now is it's obvious to me that 21 has the best race car, but the older tires are hurting. So you don't want to pit even though you're inside your fuel window with 36 laps to go, because that means you're going to have to defend the race win on 36-lap tires. So it's a risk to stay out there longer, but if I am the crew chief of the 21, I'm looking at running a little bit longer, maybe 30 to go, to just try to have some fresher tires, but definitely only one stop for that 21 car.
Marty.
And that's exactly what Danny Stockman told me, Steve. He said, my theory is we'll only have to be on the racetrack about 6 laps longer than everybody else. That will be their only stop for the day. So Daniel Hemrick coming in about 6 to 7 laps, but that's a theory. They only have one stop. Everybody else will stop twice today.
So the other, just to understand, the 21 did that because they got stage points. The 98, the 20 of Bell, the 90 of Lally, they pitted before the end of the stage because they didn't want or need the stage points.
Looking for the win here at the Roval. Looking forward to Doc Emmerich getting back to work with Wednesday night's hockey. And the NHL season will kick off with a great doubleheader. Bruins are going to visit D.C. and visit the defending Stanley Cup champion Capitals. Then West Coast clash between the Anaheim Ducks and the San Jose Sharks. NHL opening night. That's Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Our aerial coverage provided by Bank of America today, giving us a great shot of this Charlotte Roval. Parker.
Rick, I think the toughest place on this racetrack for Daniel Hemrick is here in Turn 8, the most important corner, because you're having to put the power down onto the longest straightaway. And I've watched him go through here the last 2 or 3 laps. Obviously, you can tell it's pretty loud, and he's changed his mind 2 or 3 times, trying to find a way to use those old tires and get the power down onto the racetrack the best he can. And he's struggling, and I think that's where he's going to get worse and worse, and maybe be very vulnerable, that 20 of Christopher Bell behind him.
Parker always seems to find himself in a crazy place on this racetrack. That was an awesome shot. I think that managing those old tires, that's what that's what Hemrick's, that's his strength. I think that's one of the things that Hemrick is really good at. I'd be shocked to see him make a mistake and put himself in a bad position. He just needs to ride it out a little bit and get where he can pit.
Cole Custer taking a position from Andy Lally, who's under pressure from Tyler Reddick. Andy Lally's accomplished road racer, ran a lot of Cup races several years ago, and is here today in a underfunded team, independent team, if you will, having a great run, and that's what he expects when he goes to road courses, to be able to shine. Dave.
Yeah, Junior, I talked to him before the race, and they did something different before qualifying. They did a little softer front anti-roll bar on that car. He thought it would maybe make the front end more compliant, but he thought there might be some downsides as well. After qualifying, I saw him and he said, I think we made a mistake, but that strategy right now has him up front. Marty?
And Dave, we all wait and watch to see when that 21 car of Daniel Hemrick will come to pit road again. They have not pitted today. You see him behind Chase Briscoe. He's actually faster than Chase Briscoe right now. They're telling him, be patient. Yes, they have a little bit older tires than some of the guys behind them, obviously, since they have not pitted today. They're talking between 25 and 27 for that 21 car. Behind him, though, Christopher Bell, his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, just told him a moment ago, hey, if we're not going to win this stage, we're going to do the same exact thing we did last time, Steve. That means coming early before the end of the stage. We told you the playbook was open. It's all over the map today.
Yeah, well, Christopher Bell, with that win last week, he knows he's on to the next round of the playoffs. So the only thing that helps him is playoff points. You gain those by either winning the stage or winning the race.
And Steve, I think for Hemrick, the longer they can run here, the better they're going to be, because eventually they're going to have to restart with everybody after everybody pits. And if they pit before them, and people pit at the end of the stage, they're going to start with 3 or 4 lap newer tires. So for Hemrick, if he can just keep running as long as possible, even if he gives up third, I think that'd be probably the wisest thing to do.
Great racing action. Tyler Reddick in the 9. That's for 5th. Lally, Sadler, Priest, Marks all involved there. We saw Syndrich go around. You're not going to miss a thing, not even pit stops if they take place, as we go NASCAR nonstop from the Charlotte Roval. Big event weekend caps off with Sunday Night Football. AFC North rivals clash when Joe Flacco and the Ravens visit Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. That's Football Night in America, 7 p.m. Eastern. Kickoff at 8:20 tomorrow night, only on NBC. You're watching Xfinity Series Racing from Charlotte, the drive for the Cure 200. Marty.
Daniel Hemrick gives up third, Rick, so it's lap 26 when they come to pit road, right in that window when Danny Stockman thought they might come. I know they would have loved to have gone one more lap, but probably not worth the risk for these guys. And they're on pit road right now for Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment. Said he lost too much rear grip the longer they ran, although he did have some impressive lap times. Austin Syndrich also on pit road. He said our car just falls off way too fast and too quickly in the middle part of the run, losing all their rear grip. They made a wedge adjustment this time and a little bit of a longer stop for the 22 bunch.
I think this is going to open pit road to a bunch of cars that are not in position to get stage points.
Brandon Gaughan had some trouble in turns 3 and 4. So these guys kind of all checked up behind the 90. And the 2, Matt Tiff gets in the teammate, gets into him a little bit there. Brandon came down on, I believe, from that angle.
Austin Syndrich right behind it. Nice job missing it. Dave.
After leading 9 laps, Chase Briscoe will come in the 98 car. Needs a little bit of forward drive, a little bit of front turn. They'll make that adjustment with air pressure already changed in the tires that went on the car. Here comes Justin Allgaier. 7 car in now for a 4 tire change and a fill of fuel. Car's pretty good for Justin right now, just trying to take it easy, not overdo it, Kelly.
Ryan Truex in that 11 car also in. He said his front turn has gotten worse and he doesn't have much rear grip. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for Ryan Truex.
And everybody coming to pit road right now, Steve, can make it based upon fuel.
Yeah, this will be their last pit stops for the entire race unless they have an accident or flat spots of tires. Basically, they've given up stage points. They said, you know what, I'm going to position myself to try to win this race. It's just stage points versus track position. You pit now, you're going to have good track position. You stay on the racetrack, you're not. Christopher Bell, the leader of the race currently, he loves the, oh, we have a car backwards right here. It's Justin Allgaier off pit road, has spun in the middle of 3 and 4 and been contacted by the 39. That's big. This 7 did not have a great week last week. They needed to come in here and get some points. That 39 is going to have a hard time making it back around with the hood in the way. I was going to say the Christopher Bell, he's going to stay on the racetrack and try to get that playoff point. That's why it's so valuable for him.
There's the 7 of Justin Allgaier going around. May have had a little help from Syndrich.
That's what he claims, Rick, and he is not happy about it.
Oh, hit him right in that rear end, right in the wheel. You see the rear axle moving around. Right along with Austin Syndrich.
2 car left.
Yeah, he basically gets spun out. I know he came off from pit road and blends in front of the 22, and the 22 just hits him in the left or right rear quarter panel.
You have to worry about what kind of damage that did to the 7 car. It didn't hit in the left rear tire like that. It bend the track bar mount, track bar itself. It's got some quarter panel damage. I believe that he's got a, bent track bar or something, as that car looked like the rear end moving around a little bit.
Yeah, you can see when it made contact, you can see the rear end move in the car.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to believe it has no damage.
Ryan Sieg obviously trying to get around the track and back to the attention of his crew. Marty.
Meanwhile, out front, Christopher Bell, and he is going to stay out on the racetrack. Jason Ratcliffe, his crew chief, told him a moment ago, the only way we're staying out and not pitting early is if we can get the stage win. Remember, they've already advanced to the next round. This playoff point, if he can hang on and keep Cole Custer behind him, will be very valuable, Kelly.
Well, and there was a debate on that 00 team of Cole Custer as to whether or not they should come in. At first, his crew chief had called him in, but Cole said, are you sure? Are you sure we want to give up some of these stage points? And after they thought about it for a quick moment, they decided, nope, stay out. So even if he doesn't get the playoff bonus point for the win, he'll still collect 9 additional points. Cole Custer came into this race as a tie for the last spot to advance into the next round of 8.
Well, Cole Custer's running down from a long way back. He has 4-lap fresher tires. White flag lap. Let's see if he can get him.
We saw Austin Syndrich pushing it a little bit too hard. He spun around, can Christopher Bell be able to make it all the way around and hold off Cole Custer? He's got a pretty good gap right now between first and second.
I get the feeling that Christopher Bell didn't understand that Cole Custer was that close. Once Cole got to him, he just drove back away from him.
And now for the stage win, Christopher Bell, the only driver in the field that is safely on to round 2 of the playoffs because of his win last week. And out of 17, he'll win stage 2. 5th stage win for Christopher Bell on 2018 season.
Good work there, man.
Custer, Reddick, Ryan Preece, Elliott Sadler, Lally, Gralla. Those two continue to fight for position as the stage 2 has come to an end with Christopher Bell winning. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Ford. Going further so you can. And by Credit One Bank, the credit card perfect for everyday purchases. Dave.
Third place, Tyler Reddick is on pit road. When he turns the wheel exiting the corners, he can't put the gas down, so they'll make an adjustment back on what they did before, Kelly.
Cole Custer says that he's been struggling with drive off. The last adjustment helped. He wanted more in that same direction, so they made another chassis adjustment, Marty.
Jason Ratcliffe joked to Christopher Bell. He said, it's playing out just like we planned, huh? Already leaving pit road. They have no changes on that car. Said he lost a little bit of drive and forward bite the longer they ran, but pretty happy with it.
Pit road's never easy. Watch Tyler Reddick as he pulls out. He has to stop close. That could have ruined his day.
Family fun at a NASCAR race has never been easier. Kids 12 and under are free for every Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series race on the schedule. And then there's discounted tickets also available for every Monster Energy Cup Series event. Go to NASCAR.com/kids tickets for more. Rudd, I believe you found the Toyota Camry on-track car.
I sure have, Rick, and there are so many kids and families down here in the infield loving it. I hope y'all are having as much fun up there. But somebody stopped me and said, hey, what happens to these splitters? And we saw Catherine Legg, when she got back on the track, that rumble strip knocked the splitter off on her side. But, Steve, when you see these drivers hopping over those big blue curbs, are you more worried about the splitter for aerodynamics or all of the things that are behind there? What's your big concern?
The other, right? While the splitter is important for aerodynamics, as you mentioned, you could continue with a car that's down on downforce. You cannot continue if you knock the radiator, oil cooler, put a hole in the oil pan, break the suspension. There are just so many things on this car that have been engineered to race, not engineered to jump curbs. And you see right here, this is trying to rejoin the racetrack. That is a major contact, and then you just see how hard it is to repair. The frustration that can happen on pit road when you try to repair one of these things. So we talked about the risk versus reward of, staying on the racetrack versus pit strategy and what stage points will do to your day. Well, we can kind of show you how many stage points are earned. And Dale Jr., you and I have had this conversation, right? Custer, Reddick, Hemrick, Syndrich, Sadler. I mean, that's a lot of points. While there's no guarantee, whatever happens in this final stage, I think we all think it's going to get crazy. This kind of softens up their day if they do have an issue.
Yeah, I think with the uncertainty of this last stage, every third stage, every week, it's been crazy. With the uncertainty there, you got to feel great if you're Custer or Reddick to have those extra points in the bank already. Parker.
Hey guys, I'm down here at the restart zone and the final chicane. This is going to be important for two reasons. One, we have the restart of the final stage, but two, I kept tabs on Cole Custer there as he came into the final chicane on the last lap of that stage. He was 6/10 back from Christopher Bell, but by the time he got to the apex of the second to last corner, he was right on his bumper. I believe if we get to the end of this stage, if you're within 6, maybe even 7/10, you could get to that bumper here and move him out of the way to win this race. Come to the restart, guys.
2x2 once again. Chase Briscoe in the 98 on the inside, and Hemrick on the outside. Back up through the gears they go. Green flag back in the air.
A lot of guys up front that have never won an Xfinity race. Now with only 22 laps to go, it's going to get aggressive. There it starts.
There it is. Turn one. They pile up. We saw Ryan Truex get into the wall, and then the 5 got pushed back out. And that's Michael Annette that was sideways in the number 5, and everybody piling into him. The caution comes out.
So one thing I've seen on the restarts all day long is that outside line has been getting locked up on the exit of turn 1. And that's something we're going to have to watch for tomorrow. But look at 11. Overdrives entry, slows down, trying to miss the wall. Gets into all these guys coming in there hot. Stage 3, man. It's going to be like this, I think, the rest of the race.
It tightens down into a funnel when you come out of turn number 1 and up to 2 as we go NASCAR nonstop. just 21 laps to go from the Charlotte Roval. Let's go to Dave.
Rick, you're looking at the 7 car of Justin Allgaier, who got spun by the 22 car of Austin Syndrich, and he had this exchange with his spotter on the radio afterwards.
He just jumped in there and poked me.
Yeah, his guy just came to me and told me that's what happened. Obviously, he was sorry.
Sorry, don't cut it.
I know it.
Justin will now start directly behind the 22 of Austin Syndrich. That should be interesting. And they did not pit because the damage they didn't feel was severe enough from when the 39 of Sieg ran into the left side there, right in front of the left rear tire, Marty.
Well, Dave, earlier, what did Austin Syndrich say pre-race? You don't want to be a part of the accordion. You don't want to be the meat in the sandwich. Well, at the back of the accordion was Elliott Sadler, and he's not happy with someone. Take a listen on the radio.
Somebody's got to tell Andy Lally to just calm down. Let these guys wreck themselves. He run all in the back of me.
Let these guys wreck themselves and calm down. So there's an accordion factor, certainly, isn't there, guys? And sometimes you're in the back of it, you don't get the best of it.
You know, Elliott's serious when he makes down a double syllable. Calm down. Elliott just trying to say, hey, man, you know, I know you're excited. He's having, you know, Lally's having a good run going. It's like, let these guys make mistakes, clear themselves out.
I just thought that's how Elliott spoke.
He does.
And he and Ward, they kind of say down the same.
Do they?
Playoff takes them a long time. It's down. It's really slow, long.
And very close there for Andy Lally, who's trying to get into the garage, pulling in front of Brendan Gaughan on pit road. But playoff drivers have had some issues already.
Started with the 22 of Austin Syndrich trying to hold off Daniel Hemrick. He spins around, and that gives the 21 the stage win. Justin Allgaier came off pit road. That's the radio we just heard. The 22 of Syndrich gets into his bumper, spins the 7 out, and that gave Christopher Bell the stage win. And then this most recent accident here, guys. This is what the restarts are going to look like.
That's a hit. You know, they can fix this left side body damage, but that hit to the right front is going to be tough on that balance of that race car going forward. And
Christopher Bell, so you heard that accordion effect. Everybody's just stacking up and close for Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Ryan Truex, he needed a good day. Position he's in with the points, and he had good speed this weekend to get that good finish. You see right there, he's 33 points out, sitting in 32nd right now.
Take a picture, though, because 20 to go, it's not going to look like that in 20 more laps. This is going to be a mess. Let's take a listen to the Daniel Hemrick in the 21.
I wish you could understand how fast your car is, okay? Just have confidence, okay?
Pep talk from on top of the pit box to his driver.
Yeah, that's Danny Stockman. Danny Stockman has been a part of championships, Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series.
So, Rick, I agree. He has a fast race car, but this third stage is not going to look like the first two. We're not going to have 5, 8, 10 lap runs. These are going to be sprints because that whole first stage, there was a lot of give and take. Someone get inside you, you'd let them go into the chicane. All of that is over. I mean, these guys are racing for their playoff lives, Dave.
Guys, right now, the 98 of Chase Briscoe getting ready to restart the race as the leader again. He told me right before the race, I've been watching my own videos and everybody else's videos about this track all week. Every time I go home, I look at some more video. He has been studying, and he's got a car up front that doesn't need to pit again.
Has he learned? That's the question. Chase Briscoe, Daniel Hemrick. Right up front in that front row. Justin Marks, Matt Tiff. Making up row 2 as they dive into turn 1. Clean through 1 and up to 2. And now they work their way serpentining through 3 and 4.
Great racing through the pack. You can see how tight this racetrack is, how tight the corners are.
Oh, and contact there.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick kept it going in the right direction, but Jeremy Clements was all over his rear quarter panel.
I'm surprised, though. I thought we'd see some guys get turned around in turn 1 again. I thought we'd see some guys have some trouble through 3 and 4. Whole field got through there really well.
Something will have to change. They're too wide, and right away Elliott Sadler backs out before he gets into the chicane.
You can see why it would be so hard to pass right there, how narrow the racetrack is. Christopher Bell just jumping the curbs. See how far out he is. He turns really big arc into turn 1. Greg taking a look.
Now with just 18 laps to go, how does Hemrick get by Briscoe? Where is the optimal place to make a pass at this racetrack?
Well, I think he needs to do what he's doing right now, which is just put the pressure on, right? I mean, he doesn't have to get by him right now. Try to pressure the driver of the 98 into making mistakes, slipping a tire.
Yeah, I agree with that. Haven't really established a definite passing zone at this track yet, so it's all about just putting the heat on that guy, filling up his mirror, make him overdrive a corner.
It hasn't proven to be a normal road course where you just outbrake somebody. It's just like you got to beat them off the corner and then gain position. Marty.
And for Daniel Hemrick, left side of your screen, trying to get that lead. His car's so good on the long runs. They keep preaching that. Remember how good we are on older tires. You know, Jeff, he's also running the Cup Series race this week. And the big announcement yesterday, he's going to be driving for Richard Childress Racing in the Cup Series next year. And he said something interesting to me pre-race. He said, because of my time in the Cup car, the Xfinity car, everything's moving a little bit slower. We always talk about athletes who the game slows down for them. That's what's going on with Daniel Hemrick this weekend. He said, I've never experienced it in my life before, but I certainly feel it this weekend.
The guys running 1 and 2 have never won in the Xfinity Series. Could it be changed today?
right here.
There's Ryan Sieg. We saw him in an accident earlier when he got into the side of the 7 of Justin Allgaier, and obviously the tape didn't hold because the hood and the front bumper now are dragging along the right side of the car. Marty.
And you see him coming down pit road. A lot of damage on that 39 car. They're going to try and tape it up the best they can, but boy, that is a mess. I don't think there's much more tape that could fix that 39 car.
You saw that debris on the back straightaway. Got to think that might bring out a yellow. Look at Christopher Bell. Almost run over some. There it is. The yellow flag's out.
Caution's out, and bumper bar.
Yeah,
see in there?
Somebody hit that down the back straightaway.
So the caution has come out for the 5th time today, and that means that the field will be stacked back up again and another restart.
Well, first they have to decide if they're going to pit, which the leaders I don't think are going to pit. But if you're Elliott Sadler in 16th, Brandon Jones in 17th, how about Ryan Truex back in 20th? You got to do something, right, guys? You got to find a way to go on offense. So I think someone in the back half of this field is going to come to pit road. If you ever want to know what a bumper bar looks like, there you have it.
Somebody hit that
right out in the open
at a pretty high rate of speed. So the playoff guys were here and hit that, and here's a replay. Yep, the 20 car, Christopher Bell on the inside of Allgaier. Christopher sees it at the last minute, but not soon enough.
And it looked like it went up and hit the 00, Cole Custer as well.
They're not done hitting it.
Kaz Gralla.
He's going to get it out of the way. I wonder what kind of damage that did to the front of the 20 car for Christopher Bell.
He saw it, tried to get out of the way.
Still there. Clear. Yellow, yellow. Debris in the back.
Allgaier having an issue there?
Debris on the back. I'm sure he responded, I know, I just hit it.
What was going on with Allgaier right there? He lost a ton of spots. 2 people got by him, or did he just slow down?
I wonder if he slowed down because of the debris.
Yeah, I think he heard the caution, or they said caution, he slowed down. I think those other guys hadn't slowed down for the caution because he's back in front of them on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Look at all the debris everywhere.
A lot of parts, pieces strewn across that backstretch.
Not small pieces.
No. So Briscoe and Hemrick, they had separated themselves. Justin Marks was trying to come back into the picture, the top 3. And then there's Austin Syndrich, who is currently in 4th.
Yeah, so the leaders, they've worked hard for this track position. They're going to keep it with 14 laps to go. As we watch the guys come towards pit road entrance, we'll see who pits. I expect the back half of the field will come get some fresh tires for the sprint to the finish.
Why is this race so important? Well, because next Saturday, the Xfinity Series faces the first cut race of the playoffs at the Monster Mile of Dover. That's 3 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN.
It's named correctly, Rick. This might be the Monster Roval, but that 1 mile concrete high bank, that is the Monster Mile.
And Ryan Truex catching back up to the pack. They continue to clean the debris up on the backstretch, and a lot of Ryan Truex's car ended up back there as it had almost fallen completely apart. We saw the hood and the front bumper flying over the top of the car and down the side. So they continue to clean that up. While they're doing that, we'll go down to Dave.
Rick, before this race ever started, Crew Chief Richard Boswell came down on the radio to his driver, Chase Briscoe, in that white 98 and said, I want you to go 75 to 80% all day long. Well, they just had this discussion over the radio.
Brad, you're doing great. I'm going to finally let you go 100%. No, don't let me do that. I'll go slower. No matter what, man, you've done an incredible job.
Really been an accomplishment for Briscoe to, while he is up front, not make mistakes. He's just got to get it to the end now. About 11 to go, or 10 maybe, Rick, when this race returns.
Yeah, we'll see how quickly they clean the track.
So, Rick, with 12 to go, I expect more chaos and more accidents, but this is shocking to me. Let's look at this playoff leaderboard. Christopher Bell and Justin Allgaier have to be the two favorites. They've had dominated the regular season. Well, Christopher Bell, he wins at Richmond. He's guaranteed in. Justin Allgaier, he has an accident at Richmond. He came into the playoff points, Jeff, or excuse me, the playoffs with 39 playoff points, and here he is barely above the cut line.
Yeah, and just a minute ago he had to pit because he thought he had a bent wheel. He was running 7th. He pitted. He came off pit road in 24th. So there's a ton of ground for him to go make and get a bunch of points. But to do it, he's going to have to do it on this racetrack where we've seen so many wrecks, so much chaos. So a lot of work ahead. Dave?
And Jeff, his crew chief, Jason Burdett, brought him down pit road. He said, because I didn't think we could finish in the top 15 the way your car was. Justin said, you know what? I think you're right. I think we would have gotten wrecked. He said, okay, now you can do the wrecking. We'll see how the 7 makes his way forward from here.
Well, it was tough last week at the short track. The 7, you know, we expect this car to run up front. It always does. We don't have the Cup guys in it. Well, right here, 3 wide, 4 wide. 4 wide doesn't work most anywhere. Definitely not at Richmond. Up the track he goes. And into the wall he goes. Costly at Richmond. And Rick, you know, the playoffs are different. In every sport, something changes in the playoffs. And if Justin Allgaier wants a chance to be a champion, this is going to be a moment. There's going to be a moment for all of these drivers. This is his. He needs to come in here. Dover's a great racetrack for him, but you don't want to leave there with your back against the wall, right? So this is his moment. He has to come out here and drive through this field with 12 laps to go because of this.
And Steve, look who's involved in this, the 22 car. Well, who was involved with him last week at Richmond, the 22 car. So you've got to believe that we already heard him on the radio talk about his displeasure. So if he ever to get back to Austin Syndrich, you got to know he's not happy.
2x2 once again. They come out of what is now turn 14, and they come into the restart zone. It'll be 11 laps to go. Chase Briscoe and Daniel Hemrick side by side.
Hemrick with a good restart. Good job, just getting into second. Good work. There's Allgaier, 3 wide, back to 2.
Working their way through 4, up to 5.
Ryan Preece, aggressive move to get underneath the 9 car.
And look at how close 1 and 2 is right now. Briscoe has Daniel Hemrick all over his back bumper as they get onto the big track.
I wonder if you don't get a little bit of a draft down this straightaway, being that you're going relatively slow. I think the draft may even be more effective.
He's got a good run, but this isn't a braking zone. He's got to back off and try to get the acceleration out of that chicane. And he just doesn't get through there well at all. Gives up a ton of time.
Briscoe just killed him through that chicane. I think some of that's visibility. I think when you're right behind a guy, you just can't see the, you can't,
Oh, he's going to miss it. He's going to have to pull over here and stop.
Stop.
Going to have to come to a police stop there. He does that, gets going again.
That was costly, but good recognition to go ahead and fix it don't make a bad situation worse.
Here it is. Just see how rough it is. Transition down onto that flat part of the racetrack into that chicane.
He looked like he may have gotten in there and got it wheel hopping. Look at the rear tires. Just trying to carry too much speed. Racing for the win, man. Just overdrove the car. That's the rule. Just got to pull down there and stop. Spotter did a great job of reminding Daniel, just get down here and stop. You got to serve your penalty.
He's fallen all the way back to 15th. Now how aggressive will he try to be to get back up front? Just 10 laps to go, Parker.
And Rick, how do I know it's time to go? Well, just before Daniel Hemrick made that mistake, he was trying to chase Briscoe down here in the back of the chicane, and he was using a ton of curbing. All these drivers are getting more and more aggressive with the curbing as you see them in a great battle there with Elliott Sadler and Daniel Hemrick trying to work his way back through, using that blue curbing there, and especially over here on the exit. Right there, some of the drivers at the front were going 4 tires almost over that curbing, trying to make up time here.
That's been the focal point of this track this weekend, has been 11 and 12. Now great battling going on as they go through 16 and 17.
Justin Allgaier has passed his teammate Elliott Sadler. He's up to 12th. That's a great recovery. We mentioned he's going to use those fresh tires, and guys, he's doing a nice job with them.
Doing a really good job. You showed him a minute ago. What was he, only 3 points to the good or something? Right now, he's about 12 points to the good.
Great battle right here between Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick. These guys have been going at it since the green flag came out again.
I want to take a look at today's Toyota driver update as we ride along with Christopher Bell. Started 11th, currently running 6th. He has led a lap, as a matter of fact 5 laps during this race, and the furthest back he has been was 21st. Out front, it's Chase Briscoe. 9 laps to go, and we stay NASCAR nonstop. Today's aerial coverage provided by Bank of America, giving us a great vantage point of this new Charlotte Roval. And an incredible night, big event weekend, and it's going to kick off with the 7:30 kickoff of Stanford Notre Dame. Again, it's been almost 100 years since these two have met as undefeated teams. And then 11:30, it's Saturday Night Live, the premiere for 2018. And we will be here until 6 o'clock for post-race coverage here on NBC-SN. Out front, it's still Chase Briscoe, but running second is Justin Marks. Kelly.
In that 42 car, and Justin Marks trying to close that gap. He made an announcement this weekend that this would be his last ever NASCAR weekend. He's actually doing double duty for the first time, running the Cup race as well come Sunday. I talked to Justin about it. He said he has some other opportunities, business opportunities, that he wants to focus on. He's not making a living as a race car driver anymore, so he said it was time to focus his efforts solely on the business side of things. But he told me he was really grateful that he gets to go out on his own terms. On top of that, he is an Xfinity Series winner, a win he collected with Mike Shiplett a couple years ago. They're trying to go out on top with another win today.
Yeah, one win in the Xfinity Series. He's going to run the Cup Series tomorrow, so double duty for Justin Marks. This is only his third race this year, so Marks doesn't get behind the wheel very often, but at road courses, he does try to take advantage of his abilities and get behind the wheel, see if he can capture another win. Dave.
How about the driver who is running now in the 11th position, Ross Chastain, a driver who still has a shot in the playoffs for Johnny Davis Motorsports. That red car on the right. His strategy as Hemrick makes the pass by him, start in the back of the field, keep the points he has coming in, which were 18 above the cut line. So far he's done it. 10 points to the good on the cut line right now.
Doing a nice job. Clean race car. Wise, right? Hemrick ran him down. He didn't fight him. He knows he can't hold him off for 5 laps. He lets 21 go.
And the unknown made so many of these playoff drivers look at their strategy. One of the playoff drivers was Ross Chastain. He thought his best strategy was go to the back and try to avoid any kind of incidents, because no one knew coming in how aggressive people were going to be on this road course that people hadn't been on until the very start of this race. And you look at the guys running first through fifth and the number of wins. You put Christopher Bell up there with his 6 wins. Ryan Preece has 2 career wins. Justin Marks, we mentioned his 1 win. The other 2 guys up there, Briscoe fighting for his first ever Xfinity Series win. And behind him, Syndrich also looking for number 1. Dave?
And Rick, one of the driving forces behind Chase Briscoe, Ford Performance. He's a development driver for them, and they believe in him. He's not only been in this Xfinity Series car this year, but a Camping World Truck Series truck. And in 1 week, he won a winged sprint car race, ran great at Eldora on the dirt, and also ran a GT4 Mustang at Lime Rock Park. The versatility of this driver is showing today on a very unique street course / Roval in Charlotte.
Yeah, Dave, what I think is fascinating about Chase Briscoe is, remember, he was at Brad Keselowski Racing. It shut down. Where was he going to go? He really didn't have a place, and Ford found a place for him. They believed in him. So he's run 14 races this year, as you just mentioned, but in addition to that, Ford's had him doing everything. He's run truck races. He actually won the Eldora truck race. He's been running IMSA, Continental Tire, Sports Car Series. I mean, he's been doing all kinds of stuff, and all that road racing is showing today. He's not a guy that likes road racing in the past, but the experience Ford is giving him this year and sticking with him, finding something for this guy to do, that's believing in somebody and giving him a chance, and all that effort may pay off today.
Well, a couple laps ago, Chase Briscoe stretched his lead by about a half second, but I'm not sure if Justin Marks was just cooling his tires, because this last lap he took a big chunk back off that lead. So now we're on board with the 22 of Syndrich in 3rd place. Going through the infield section, you see working that 5, 6, 7. This turn 8 leads back onto the high banks of the normal 1.5-mile track. So the question is, the 42 has been working on Briscoe, trying to close the gap. If he can get close enough, where do you think the best place to make the move is?
I think he's going to have to try to take a few chances on that back straightaway through 11 and 12. Make up a little time there and be able to put himself maybe in position to outbreak into turn 16, 17, but it's pretty competitive in the rest of the racetrack, but has been getting beat quite a bit through that back straightaway chicane. Marty.
Hey, Junior, I can tell you one driver who would love a caution. That's Austin Syndrich sitting in third. Good lap times and a nice recovery for this team. Remember, he was leading the race earlier on, spun out while second place Daniel Hemrick was chasing him, spun on his own, but he's had a nice recovery now in third. It's not going to be the win that Austin Syndrich wanted today, but a solid day. In third right now, still 9 points below the cut line, heading to Dover, a cutoff race next week.
And you look to the left, that's the points that everyone's looking at as far as playoff points. The 4 drivers below Austin Syndrich right now, 9 points below that cutoff line with 1 race to go before round 2.
You're looking at those points. We talked about the 7 car of Justin Allgaier, how he had to pit earlier. Well, he is still having trouble, and he has a group of cars behind him putting a ton of pressure on him. So hopefully, I know he's hoping he can have a good finish here. It's a lot of pressure. Here they are. They've just been behind him for the last 4 or 5 laps. He's been holding them off, but at some point they're going to get impatient.
Yeah, he's holding up this whole group of 4 cars there. About to be 5 with Michael Annett closing in on that group.
Through 17, and Chase Briscoe will take the white flag. Credit 1 to go from the Charlotte Roval. Listen into the 98 radio.
80%, bud. No mistakes. You're making them make them. Keep digging.
80%, no mistakes. Justin Marks right now running 100%. Chasing.
Smooth and smart.
You heard the spotter say smooth and smart. Well, that's proven to be very difficult at this racetrack. So with only a half a lap left, it's just a matter of not making a mistake. Don't overdrive. He's
like
still
that.
pushing. Back her down a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a good enough lead.
Back, 25
Drove
back.
a great race, drove a smart race.
This area right here, the inner loop, well, the chicane, just slow it down. Could run through real easy. Don't try to do anything special.
At the age of 13, Chase Briscoe broke Jeff Gordon's record as the youngest driver to win in a 410 sprint car. He's a 2016 ARCA champion. And now, as he makes his way through 16 and 17, he gets his first Xfinity Series win. Chase Briscoe wins in Charlotte.
Give you an opportunity to do this more often because you damn sure deserve it. Thank you so much. Way to go, bud. Way to stay calm and on the racetrack. It's so good, man. You deserve it.
You can hear the emotion in the 23-year-old's voice. Chase Briscoe gets his first Xfinity Series win. Austin Syndrich, a good points day as he finishes third. Christopher Bell, a top 5 finish. That was Austin Syndrich giving him the fist pump. As they went by, there's Christopher Bell letting him know, great job, buddy.
Win. For this opportunity, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Syndrich and Briscoe were four teammates.
Cole Custer's also going to acknowledge great win there for Chase Briscoe. Stewart Haas with their 3rd career Xfinity Series win. It's pretty good. It's pretty good right here, guys. I mean, as a driver, you get your first win in Xfinity Series on this national stage.
On this track. As much as we've all talked about how difficult this racetrack is going to be, and We've heard drivers say this is the most difficult track you go to all year. And to get your first win under that situation, that's an unbelievable feeling.
We weren't talking about him at the start of the race, but man, he drove a clean, smart race, mistake-free. This was a difficult situation for all these drivers to come in here and put it together.
Climbs out of the car, slaps the top of the car, and then takes a knee.
Chase
Rutledge
Briscoe,
Wood down there.
Chase Briscoe climbs out of the car. The first winner on the Roval. Congratulations.
This is unbelievable. You know, I was 4 seconds off in practice, and my guys just kept continuing to stick behind me and keep working with me. And God is so good, man, to just get an opportunity to drive race cars and to do it for my hero, Tony Stewart, to get a win when I feel like my career's been really bad this year, and I had to get my stock back up, and just can't believe it. Just thank you so much to Biaggi and Dembesti and everybody at Ford for believing in me, and just thank you to all you fans for coming out. It's an awesome turnout. I hope you guys enjoy that race. It's going to be a good one tomorrow.
Chase, to pick up your first career Xfinity race, we know the fan favorite race you won earlier, the truck race at Eldora. To be here to get this first one here in Charlotte, what does that mean to you?
It's huge to me, just because, you know, nobody had laps here. Everybody had to adapt and figure it out. And I don't know if I was necessarily the best at it, but I felt like I just tried to, you know, not hit anything. And we didn't really even have a scratch on this thing, and a lot of guys were tearing up race cars. So can't wait to get back in this thing at Kansas, be at Dover next week for the Roush guys, and see what we can do.
And when you think about being on here for the first time, like you said, no drivers running laps, to come out here to put that together, to get that first win in front of these fans, did you ever think that was possible?
No, not at all. You know, 3 years ago, I was sleeping on couches, volunteering at race shops, just trying to get an opportunity, and Briggs Cunningham was nice enough to let me drive his ARCA car, and then that progressed to getting a Ford deal and running for Brad, and now winning here at Charlotte, the first one on the Roval. That's pretty unbelievable. Just thank you again to all you fans coming out. It was so cool to see a pretty packed house, and I'm sure tomorrow's going to be awesome.
Hey, we'll see you in Victory Lane.
Thank you.
Chase Briscoe, first-time winner of the Xfinity Series here at Charlotte on the Roval.
Chase Briscoe has not run the full season. He's not a part of the playoffs.
Here comes the checkered flag. Every one of these moments.
But this win, oh so sweet. The smile can never be taken away. Your first win in the Xfinity Series in NASCAR. Chase Briscoe mentioned not a scratch on the car. While other drivers continued to struggle in practice and qualifying, Chase Briscoe stayed consistent. And then after the win, all the drivers that came by to congratulate, look how excited Austin Syndrich is to congratulate Chase Briscoe, winning at Charlotte. a huge weekend. On NBC tonight, it is college football. 2 undefeateds, Stanford and Notre Dame, both in the top 10. They face off at 7:30. And then Saturday Night Live, the premiere will be at 11:30. Kanye West, the music guest this evening on Saturday Night Live. Tomorrow, it continues. Ryder Cup coverage at 6 Eastern. The NASCAR America Free Race at 1. Monster Energy Series countdown to green at 1:30. And it is an elimination race from the Charlotte Roval. That racing beginning at 2 o'clock. So plenty of action taking place on NBC this weekend. A big event weekend. Dave.
Chase Briscoe pulls into victory lane, and Chase will let you climb on out and address this crowd that are already cheering here in victory lane. As he rolled in, as a team rolled in, they applauded, but then when the 98 came into victory lane, there was a lot of cheers for the 23-year-old from Indiana. And I noticed when you pulled into victory lane, you hit the stairs. That's the only curb you hit all day, it seemed like, at least hard.
Yeah, that's our only damage I think we had all day. So just thank you so much for Ford for believing in me and sticking with me. The Biagis, the Dembestis, Stewart Haas Racing, just everybody that's a part of this deal to be the first winner at the Roval is just means so much, just because everybody was on the same playing field coming in. I mean, you were talking on the truck. I was way off in practice. Really didn't feel that great about going into the race, but honestly, I felt like I was on a dirt track. I just kept trying to be as smooth as possible and just keep the tires hooked up, and it paid off. Just so thankful for the man upstairs. God has blessed me in so many ways, and hopefully continue to.
Tell us about that kneeling next to the car, Chase. What were you saying? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, just praying to the Lord, thanking Him for the opportunity. My story, for those that don't know it, volunteering at race shops. I don't have any money. Just, I volunteered and slept on couches, and He blessed me with opportunities. And so far, we made the most of them. Just need to keep continuing to do that.
You mentioned your hero as Tony Stewart. Tell us what he was like watching him growing up and then getting to drive for him and Fred Biaggi.
Yeah, absolutely. Being from Indiana, being a sprint car guy, that's as close as it ggets to relating to Tony Stewart. He was my hero growing up, and I was telling somebody earlier, it seems like Tony was always good on the road courses just because I think it played a lot like a sprint car. So, then the Biaggi and the Dembestis, the 98 cars got a lot of history, and to bring it in victory lane and be with the likes of Kevin Harvick is just unreal. So many guys have helped me, learn the racetrack and help me. Syndrich was a big help. Cole's been a big help. So, just awesome.
Chase has a little more cash now and a whole bucket of talent, Rick.
Very talented young 23-year-old. As we look at the playoff leaderboard, of which Chase not a part of that, but Christopher Bell with his win a week ago, advancing to the second round. Daniel Hemrick, 30 points above the cutoff line, but drivers like Austin Syndrich, Ryan Truex, Ryan Reed, Brandon Jones, all now in a hole that they're going to have to dig out of. Marty.
Well, what a nice recovery for Austin Syndrich. Winds up being third. If you'd gotten a caution, could you have caught Chase?
Yeah, we obviously had a short run speed car there. Funny, I complained about having too much long run speed last weekend, too much short run speed this weekend, so I guess I got to make up my mind, but I'm just over the moon for Chase. I mean, he's had a tough year. He's been down on himself, and that should be all the reason enough for Tony Stewart to go put him in a car full time. So I'm super excited for my buddy, and just thankful we were able to get a nice solid run. Obviously not a perfect day. I made my own mistakes. I got to apologize to 7. Obviously that was a weird merge off of pit road, and 35 kind of checked up for the lead cars, and I was just trying to get out of the way. So kind of a bummer we couldn't have a clean day, but still to come off third, get some stage points. It's the kind of day I need. So move on, go to Dover, where I think we can run well, and maybe have another good run for Moneyline Ford Mustang.
You had the lead there early, and the 21's trying to catch you. Was that you pushing too hard? What happened when the spin out happened?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. I mean, I'm the one driving the car, and I spin out by myself. The only question is, why are you driving so hard? And we just didn't have the ability to hold on the rear tires long enough, and I was just pushing the issue, trying to get my 10 points, and I lost 5 of those. So if I miss the next run by 5 points, I can blame myself. But go on and go to Dover and focus forward.
What a nice recovery for Austin Syndrich, though. Winds up being third today.
Yeah, great recovery for Austin Syndrich, and I think, Steve, what we've learned is that strategy is going to come into play as far as the track position, but is there a grade that you can give what we saw out of the very first race on the Roval?
Well, I'm going to have to give these drivers an A+. So much uncertainty, so many issues in practice, yet the Xfinity drivers, what we would consider maybe the younger drivers, the less experienced drivers, they managed the track wonderfully. That drive by Syndrich was nice. One mistake is all it cost him. He spun out in front of Daniel Hemrick. Daniel, another mistake, misses chicane, probably cost those two the chance at it. But how about Chase Briscoe? 17 corners every lap. That's a lot of chances for a mistake. He never slipped a wheel. I was impressed. He said it was his dirt racing background. Whatever it was, it worked. It was an impressive drive.
Yeah, great first win for Chase Briscoe. Let's bring in our drivers and ask them what they thought about the Roval.
Two other guys I think did a great job today was Cole Custer and Tyler Reddick. They managed the stages and got points throughout the day. They put themselves in a really good position going into Dover. Ross Chastain, who decided to start at the back of the field because he wasn't comfortable starting in the middle of the field where he qualified, I wonder what he thinks about that decision after seeing how calm the race went. We didn't have the mayhem I think he was anticipating, and he's lost points. He was 18 points ahead going into this race, and now he's only around 9 points ahead. So concerned about his situation going into Dover.
Yeah, I was really impressed with just everybody. I thought the entire Xfinity series, I thought they did a great job. We had less problems in this race today than we've had in Cup practice. So I thought all those guys recognized the situation and did a really good job managing what is clearly a difficult racetrack. And I'm sure that 100% of the Cup drivers watched this race, and I'm curious what they learned, what they can apply for tomorrow. But all in all, a really good race, and really good to see when a young driver like Chase Briscoe has people that stick with him through thick and thin and give him an opportunity. You know, that's what it's going to take. If you're going to have a young driver, you commit to him, you need to stick with him and give him a chance to learn and grow.
And Chase Briscoe capitalizing on that opportunity that he was given and showing his talents today at the Charlotte Roval. Krista, Kyle, and DJ will be here until 6 o'clock with post-race coverage. That comes up next on the other side of the break.
They had the
yeah,
time
no problem,
right
man.
on.
Me and if we just need a minute, we'll do it. Whatever break works for you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Syndrich the Entertainer.
Chase Briscoe, a first-time winner in the Xfinity Series. That's Austin Syndrich coming over and giving him the congratulations in victory lane. Austin Syndrich was the pole sitter for a while. Looked like he may be the winner of this race. Some trouble early. He was able to come back from that for a good finish, but the day belongs to the 23-year-old from Mitchell, Indiana. He said Tony Stewart's his hero. He grew up just a couple of hours outside Indianapolis, already won at Eldora, now wins the first Roval race. This is a dream come true kind of day. I don't know if you guys necessarily want to talk about